Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a quick look, a bit of an overview of the market. I know it's a bit of a late video and we're doing the live stream tonight for Patreon users where we're just going to look at all the altcoins and for a couple of hours. And if you want to be a member, £7.50 a month, 2 live streams a week, 16 hours a month. Right, so let's have a quick look. So Bitcoin's looking, it does look alright. I know it's meandering. It's basically, what if we look at it on a lower term time frame, like a 4-hourly or potentially even an hourly, we'll get rid of some of this mess of the itchy cloud, make it a little easier to see. It's basically ranging, giving you the impression that I suppose it's getting weak, but I really don't think it is. If we have a look at these oscillators, it does suggest that it's basically a ranging area. So we've got higher lows each time, higher lows each time, higher highs each time, higher highs each time. It's not as bad as it looks. So you could look at this on the moving averages and just think, well, actually, it does look as though it's breaking down. Moving averages are snaking down, but you know, even if it does break down any further, the lowest I'd expect us to get to would be about 55.5, so 55,500 or thereabouts. And even if it were to do that, I don't think it would be that bad for alts. The way that the Bitcoin dominance chart is looking is it is breaking down below all these levels of support, just getting lower and lower each time. The next main level of support I would expect would be on this trend line, which isn't a particularly strong area really of any sorts, but it does coincide with roughly about this this area here, which is the next level of support resistance. And it's basically, that's all we're looking at doing. Are we going to hedge back into Bitcoin? Well, I can tell you now, I'm taking profits into Bitcoin. A lot of this madness that's going on with the with alts at the moment, that's where my profit is being taken, mostly in Bitcoin rather than Tether. Right, so that's Bitcoin dominance. It looks like it still wants to go down a few steps. And what generally happens? What happened last time that this kind of behaviour took place was in January, and that's when Bitcoin was actually going down full stop. It was consolidating the entire time. Now, Bitcoin's not really consolidating here. However, you could argue that it could be, because we've not put in a new all-time high. So we could be looking at, like I said, on the 4-hourly when we saw that 55.5 area, we could be edging further and further down, so making lower highs, lower lows, consolidating while Bitcoin dominance increases, meaning that even when Bitcoin takes a leg down, alts get bought back up even harder and even stronger. But there will become a point where Bitcoin dominance does bounce, which is why I'm taking my profits into Bitcoin. It's just my strategy. It doesn't necessarily have to be yours. It's just my strategy. And if we remember when we were trading this back in January, every time Bitcoin took another further leg down, alts also went down, and then alts catapulted up. So yeah, this is not how altcoin charts looked. Altcoins were just going up like this, but every time there was a candle body down or a wick down, the alts came down with it and then bounced 2, 3, 4 times harder than they did prior to that, and Bitcoin continued with its consolidation. So that is one possibility. The other possibility is that because Bitcoin dominance is edging closer and further towards the next level of support, which is either be here at 54, well that's 55 really, or 52.5% dominant, this is where we could get a significant bounce from Bitcoin, which again, it's one of the reasons why I'm hedging into Bitcoin. Not even hedging, just taking profits. There's a lot of profits to be taken, and I'm taking those profits in Bitcoin. I think it'll pay off in the long run. In the end, it'll work out. So, let's move over to Ethereum. So Ethereum isn't like Bitcoin. Ethereum is now taking on its own form on the daily, making new all-time highs. And it's riding not just above all major moving averages, but when it comes down, it touches the 7 simple moving averages, which is, for me, the most bullish moving average that I have on my chart. So I've got a few, I don't have loads, but the ones I've got basically show me areas of support. So when we pull back, we either bounce on the 50, the 20, the 10 or the 7, and we've bounced on the 7 each time, suggesting that it's actually looking pretty strong now. And if you look at these oscillators down here, there's plenty of volume coming back in, there's plenty of room to move, and MACD is diverging quite nicely. We've also got conversion baseline cross on the daily here, which was probably formed between these zones, but even so, it doesn't really matter. We were clearly above the price action. So that basically means this could and should be a continuation of a trend, and probably push for a new all-time high relatively soon, any minute really. Now, the last thing we're going to quickly look at would be the Dixie chart. So we've had this this pitchfork in the Dixie now for a little while, and you could extend this pitchfork by just showing that since before the pitchfork became a thing, we were being rejected on this trend line. This trend line now turned into a pitchfork, and we've got other areas within it, and this is how we're deciding to play the Dixie. So we're rallying, we're bullish. Excuse me, we're rallying. But we're getting rejected from the top of the pitchfork, which is again a continuation of this trend line coming in all the way up here. But because now I've decided that it is a pitchfork, which obviously is just a graphic overlaid, but it does seem to work. If we have a look at where we're bouncing from at the moment, or just zoom that in, it's from the centre of the pitchfork. So previously, how have we behaved in relation to what this trend line would be? So we've got the centre here, a bounce. Kind of a bit of a bounce, a breakdown to the bottom, creating this pitchfork, and then all the way more or less to the top. A lot of price action around the center, all the way to the top and now to the center. So with the Dixie, because this is a confirmed uptrend, it could be looking for a continuation of a move up at this point. So we have to bear that in mind. If it does move up, if it does move up from here, doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is going to dump or crypto is going to dump, but it often lends itself to that, but it doesn't always happen. It depends how aggressive the move back up is. Now, if we break down even further, this will be very, very exciting, I suppose, because it means that crypto will move up, more than likely will move up, but the way that this pitchfork for me is going to be played would be, I guess, for supports and resistances. So this is a resistance. We've spent a fair bit of time around the center, and there is a very strong chance that we do bounce from here. So take that for what it's worth. I did say that we're likely to continue with this trend all the way up to around about 95. Whether that hits that sooner rather than later, I think it'll hit it later. The earliest would be about mid-May, to the latest be about August. We could be looking for some, I suppose, like a game of tennis, with price action for Bitcoin. As this moves up, Bitcoin goes down. As this moves down, Bitcoin moves up. But the way that it's behaved so far, it hasn't really deterred Bitcoin's overall chart progression, and it certainly hasn't upset the altcoins. So we'll take it for what it is. If it's a nice, steady, slow, and well-paced increase in dollar value, provided we've got a healthy market going on, it might not interfere with the price action to a large extent. So let's not worry too much about the Dixie. Let's just keep it in the corner of our eye. There is a possibility, a very realistic possibility of a bounce at this level, coming in at around 92.3. But if it does break down, that's great. But again, it's not particularly impacting the overall health of the crypto market, and I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to leave it with you there, and it's just a bit of an overview. We'll go into detail on all the altcoins that we can squeeze into that 2-hour session tonight on the Patreon channel. Links in the description below for all those sort of things, including links for multiple exchanges with all kinds of benefits, 20% off trading and this, that, and the other. And I'll see you live tonight in about 2.5 hours. Take it easy.